Everybody, got a few folks here on the stream. I just want to wait before asking any questions or see if you guys have anything on your mind that you want to talk about. Just saw that Donovan Brazier just dropped a 144.7 for 800 meters. That's after like 3 years out away from the sport. Pretty impressive. That guy's incredible. I think he had the American record at 142, and then that was lowered by, I can't think of his name, but he dropped it down to 141. But yeah, 144.70 at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix. Oh, no, wait, let's see. That's where he ran 144.21, 144.70. Yeah. Pretty tough time for being away from the sport that long. So yeah, any of you that are currently on here, I'm streaming to a few Twitch, Twitter, and Kick, which is another new platform, I guess, that's for live streaming. If any of you have any questions, anything that's on your mind, feel free to leave a comment on here. I'll drop your comment in the video itself. That way everybody can see it. So yeah, another impressive time that I saw was there was a high schooler. First name's Jane Hendrickson, I think. She ran 4:23 for the mile for a new high school girls national 1 mile record, and that's for 1,609 meters. So that absolutely blew me away. I mean, that's like 4:21 to 4:22 for 1,600 meters. It's absolutely bonkers what's going on with high school running right now and professional running as well. But yeah, there's just some absolutely phenomenal athletes that are doing some really incredible things in high school. Almost couldn't believe that. It was almost like she's almost like a female, what's his name? Guy from, he's from, where is the guy from? I'll think of it in a second, but yeah, she's just an absolutely phenomenal athlete. I mean, 4:23 for 1,609 meters for a high school girl. Respect. Jakob Ingebrigtsen. Yeah, she's like a female Jakob Ingebrigtsen for sure. So I'm seeing, let me see. Yeah, I don't see comments yet, but I know it takes a little bit of time for these streams to start. Folks, come in when they can. And I know the timing too is a little bit different for everybody. Usually between 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the weekends, I prefer to start that. Usually the weekends are better. During the weekdays, a lot of times it doesn't always work out because obviously, folks are at work and even if it's at 4 p.m., that's just when folks are starting to get off work. So it's not really the best time during the week, I think. Evenings obviously are better. So, but yeah, this StreamYard platform, I've been using it for the past couple streams, and it allows me to do live streams on different platforms. So, hey, Mom, good to see you. Hope everything's going well in Wintersville. Let's see here. Got to give props to my mom there. Yep. Best mom bird in the world. She's got about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mom, I think around 7 or 8 birds. Oh, you're getting rain right now? Yeah, we got a little bit of light rain last night, and I think we're supposed to get a little bit in the next few days, but yeah, as long as it's not super bad. Okay, 6 total, yeah. But and all together, probably around 9 if you're including the babies in the back. I'd say probably around there. Crackers, Bandit, around there. Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty quiet night here. like I said, I don't know when's the real best time to do streams, to be honest with, I'll do a poll. And I'll do a poll this week and see what works best for everyone, at least the folks that are able to join. If Saturdays or Sundays are the best time, or if it's during the week would be a better time. Hey, Jen, good to see you. It seems like I've lost my ability to push through the suffering in races and hard workouts. Any advice on how to regain that mental edge? I have a 10K this weekend I want to do as a fitness check. Yeah, I mean, it is hard to know, because I mean, there's so many things that could be possibly what it is. A lot of times, and I've mentioned this in other videos and on streams, a lot of times runners are running low on ferritin. They're running low on iron. And the only way to really find that out, to see where you're at, is to get a blood test done. Because a lot of times we can feel really fatigued and we think it's something we're doing wrong. Maybe we're running too much mileage. Maybe we're running too hard, when really it's something physiologically going on, something low. If you're running below 30 nanograms per milliliter, which is how they basically measure ferritin levels. If you're below 30, and this is from Dr. Joe Vigil, one of the best exercise physiologists in the world, he says if you're under 30 nanograms per milliliter, it does not matter how motivated you are, you're going to have a hard time really pushing yourself to a really great extent in training. And sometimes, and once you get that up, he says, and I've, back in 2007, I was diagnosed with borderline anemia. I mean, I had mine was down to 21. And once I got it up to 86, that's when I started hitting new personal bests. So it could be that. It could just be maybe you need a few more days of easier running to recover from the hard workouts you're doing. Your ability to push through the suffering in races. I mean, a lot of times too, it can be so many different things. It could be altitude. If you're at high altitude, it could be other stressors, maybe lack of sleep, just things that are going on in your life, Jen. Not you in general, but I'm just saying, overall, it could be a lot of different things. But I do know that if you're having issues sustaining your goal pace in training or in races, and you're not performing at the highest of levels, or performing at the level that you're capable of, it would be worth considering getting a blood test done. And make sure when you do that, have your physician assistant, your nurse, or the doctor, most of the time a nurse or PAC, will just make sure you tell them, I want you to test where my ferritin levels are at. And also see if you can find out what your hemoglobin levels are as well. It's another component of the blood that's really important with oxygen transport throughout the body. So if you're running low on ferritin, your cellular capability to transport oxygen is very low. And that's why it's very hard to really push yourself and to be able to, deal with that suffering in the races that you're talking about, and to deal with the hard workouts. But I hope this weekend goes well for you, Jen. And as you said, it's just a fitness check. Just make sure it's just, you go out there and see where you're at, see what you can do, but just use it as a workout. Nothing to overstress yourself about. Just go out there and give it the very best you can, see where you're at. Hope that answered your question. But again, consider that and read up on ferritin. I'm telling you, I wish I would have known that when I was in high school and college. I never got tested for it when I was in high school. I was probably anemic in high school. I was probably anemic all through college. I had no idea. And I remember too, having that same issue where I had issues suffering to, being able to push myself to a greater extent in training, when if I would have known about that years ago, I may have run much, much faster in college, and much, much faster potentially in high school as well. And so that was a big help for me, finding out that and being able to adjust that. So, hey, Marion, you got a couple questions here. Hey, Coach, I'm so glad you're doing live and answering questions again. I'm starting to train for my fall marathon coming up in 18 weeks. Goal is to shave 20 to 30 minutes off my previous marathon time, 3:42. How many of the 18 weeks should I focus on base training? I would focus on about 4 weeks doing it, because normally around 4 to 6 weeks of easier aerobic training You want to strengthen your ligaments, your muscles, and then start working on specific marathon training. In your case, this is an event, obviously we all know you can drop significant time off your personal best, and 20 to 30 minutes can be done in the marathon. I mean, I coached a guy that had a PR of 3:46 and he ran a 2:58. So, and I've had other athletes drop over 1 minute off their time. So off their marathon time. So, you can definitely do it. And great job having already run 3:42. That's outstanding. Let's see, Jen, it's been a while since my ferritin levels check. It's a good idea. Yeah, absolutely, Jen. Yeah, hopefully that helps you out there, because I think that a lot of us, we just don't focus on that. I certainly had no idea about it. And I know my collegiate coach definitely knew about ferritin and running low on ferritin and running low on iron in general, but he never brought it up to us when I was in college. And my professional coach, when I was with the World Class Athlete Program, the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program, I was coached by Lisa Rainsberger. And Lisa, she won the Boston Marathon in 1985, and she mentioned it to me. She was like, some of these workouts that I was doing at altitude, I was at a time running very, very quick, repeat 2 miles on the track, under 10 flat for the 2 miles, around 440, 442 per rep for the miles. And I started dropping significantly in terms of my efforts. I was running more at like the high 450s and the low 10s, 10, 12. And she's like, you're not really running up to what you're capable of. Get a blood test. And sure enough, that's exactly what it was. So yeah, hopefully that helps. Let's see, Marcel, good to see you. Coach, any tips on hydration during the marathon? I prefer not to carry any fluids on me. Should I, for example, take sodium tablets with me and grab water at the water stations? Yeah, I mean, it certainly can't hurt. I always tell runners, and I practice it myself, is make sure that you're really practicing drinking during your long runs, so that you get in the habit of finding out how much fluid your stomach can handle, and not just sipping, not getting in the habit. Because listen, it's a 5K, 10K. You don't really need to drink a ton in those shorter, aerobic races, more aerobic races, versus the marathon, the half marathon and marathon, where it's so much longer, and you really have to pay attention to how much fluid you're taking in. Like you mentioned too, sodium tablets, that's okay too. But I wouldn't pass any aid stations in that race. And again, get in the habit of learning how to, drink in that race. And by doing that on a weekly basis during your long run, drop your water bottles out every 3 miles, every 5 kilometers, and drink. Find out how much fluid you can basically handle in training, so that when you get in the race, you're not going to be thrown off by that. And most importantly, you won't become dehydrated, because again, you've gotten such into a routine that you already know you're taking in, you've done this in the past every single week. You've gotten the habit of getting in a better routine of doing this. And so that you can handle hydrating to a higher level in the race, so that you have the best possible chance of success. And yeah, carrying fluids on you, that's tough to do, man. There are people out there, have those fanny packs and things, and that's okay too. Everybody's got their own goals and uses what works best for them differently. There's some athletes that just will not do that, but there are a lot of athletes that will do that, and very competitive, very tough athletes, very, very strong athletes will still have a fanny pack on, or they'll have they'll have fluid on their left and right hip. Do what works best for you. But I think that, like you said, taking a combination of maybe having some sodium tablets with you, that's okay. Ingesting some gels, seeing how you feel regarding that as well. That's why get in the habit of doing that in training, in your long runs on the weekends. That way, once you get in the race, you've done it so many times, it's just automatic. So hope that answers your question. Swell runner, good to see you, man. Hi, Nate. Does it matter what time of the day you run? Because I tend to run at random times, like one day at 2 to 3 p.m. and another day 10 to 11 p.m., for example, it seems like a motivational issue that I don't go at the same time every day. Yeah, I've done the same thing. Again, it just really comes down to your preference and how you feel in terms of your schedule as well. A lot of athletes will prefer to get the runs done before work, knock that out, or maybe during lunch, maybe after work. I've done triple workouts running before work. When I was in the military, I would run during lunch, and then I would run after work at times. Again, when you're trying to build a higher volume base, you really have to prioritize your time and just keep what you're doing just keep your motivation, what you're aiming for, in mind. That's what helped me over the years too. I mean, I was always, regardless if I'm in the military, regardless if we're going out to a week in the field, which I absolutely hated. When I was with the 101st Airborne Division, that's an elite unit in the U.S. Army, and it's headquartered at Fort Campbell in Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And man, we were always going out to the field. So, it would always throw me off. And that was probably the hardest in terms of dealing with mental training and trying to get some runs in while I'm out in the field, when running really wasn't the emphasis. We were out there to do military exercises, things like that. But when you're in the middle of a buildup, it comes down to how bad you want it. In your case, I think too, like you said, if you feel better running midday and then running after work or running in the evenings, do so. I think it just really comes down to the athlete's schedule and what really works best for them. And they always say sometimes it's better to get the workout done in the morning. And I guess for some athletes that works better. I really never really liked really early morning workouts, like 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. It was really tough to get up to do speed workouts, especially speed workouts. If you're going out for easy runs like that, I didn't really have so much of an issue with it. But man, when I had to do those workouts at that time of day, I made myself do it. And again, now it's totally different. Now I'm more just training for general fitness now. I'm not racing, anything like that. But when you're heavy into it, like such as yourself, when you're still really driven into racing. Yeah, I don't think there's like anything, at a better time of day that, again, for some athletes it's midday, like that, like you mentioned. Some athletes it's in the evening, like you said, 10 to 11 p.m. Done a lot of runs at that time of day too. Much more peaceful at that time, I think. Early mornings, it's absolutely peaceful, but if it's just the hard part is just getting up and being able to do training that early in the morning. But let's see what else you said. Motivational issue that I don't go at the same time every day. Okay, so you said, yeah, for example, it seems like a motivational issue that I don't go at the same time every day. Yeah, if you're set in that routine and you feel better doing your workouts at midday and then the evening, continue to do that, especially if you're getting the results that you're wanting to. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to, I don't think making major changes in your routine doesn't always help athletes out the best. So yeah, definitely stick with what's working best for you. But yeah, I've done that as well. I've done workouts over the years, even when I was in my prime, midday in the evenings, and then I switch it up. I do morning workouts and then do another workout after work. Strangely, they always say like you would probably run your very best if you were able to train full time and didn't have any other stressors on you. I ran my best when I was working a full-time job in the military and I was in grad school at the same time. So sometimes it's not just being able to focus 100% on running and nothing else, and you have a guarantee you're going to run better. In most cases, if you stay to a routine and you're keeping yourself occupied and your mind off of other things, you'll run your best. And I ran all my best times when I was working full time, and I was in grad school, like I said. So it just comes down to what works best for you. So yeah, I hope everything's going well. Swell, you're in England, right? If my memory serves me right here. I think you were in last time you jumped on one of the streams. I think you said you were somewhere in England. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Yeah, I hope everything's going smooth over the pond there. Let's see if anybody else has any other questions here. Yeah, like I said, I'll do a poll during next week and find out what is the best time during the week to do these streams. Weekends, is it like between 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so it's going to be anywhere from what works best for everyone. But I know everybody's on different schedules. So okay, Swell Runner, yeah, England, good stuff. Operation Dark Storm, good to see you, man. I realize it's a highly sophisticated balancing act, especially as a PhD student. Yes, there are days I have to work and do nothing else, and then load up the times when I do have time. Yeah, that's 100% fact. I mean, like I said, most cases we do our very best. We perform at our very best when we have other things that are preoccupying some of our time. Whereas, and I've had the opportunity to train 100% full time as a runner one time in my career, and I didn't run my PRs during that time period. So I ran my best again when I was in school and working full time. So Dark Storm, perfect example. And kudos to you, man, for being a PhD student. It is no joke. That is, I honestly did not realize how difficult working toward a terminal degree is. It was far more difficult than I thought it was going to be when I first started my doctoral studies. Getting prepared for a dissertation, to write a dissertation, to defend it, which I think is even harder than writing it. Learning the software, as you already are well aware, Darstorm, the software for PhD students, and learning that particular those different programs in order to do all of the statistics and all of this. Once you get your data, then you have to compile it. That is much more difficult. So yeah, kudos to you for going through that right now, and then on top of that, putting in the work that you're putting in. Awesome work, man. Yeah. What is Darstorm? What's your PhD? What are you working on? What is your subject matter? Let's see. Andros, good to see you. Coming back from sprained ankle in June 2024 and disc bulging on December 2024. Just started back slowly late April, early May. My question is it best to start as if I was a beginner? I would. I mean, allow yourself to just slowly build your aerobic fitness first. Don't make any major moves. You have, let me see here, just started back slowly late April, early May. Yeah, I mean, if I was in that position, and I have been injured several times over the years too, Andreas, so I understand it's not easy to get back into training when you spent you've had to deal with those types of injuries. Allow yourself several weeks, a couple months, I'd say 8 weeks, 2 to 3 months, to see how you're feeling as you gradually start working back into your training. Look at, find some races long term, maybe like in December, January, maybe earlier than that, obviously, just depending on what types of races you're aiming for. But give yourself plenty of time to build your fitness back. Just as if you, like you said, just as if you were a beginner. The fitness will come back. I mean, you have the muscle memory, all that will come back. You're going to get in much better shape, and just be patient with yourself, and don't try to rush the process and try to get too fit too soon. And the thing, remind yourself, okay, I'm coming back from a sprained ankle and a bulging disc, and you're getting your fitness back. You got that motivation already. You're already asking the right types of questions. So, kudos to you, man, for getting back out there and putting in the work. So I'm looking forward to hearing how your upcoming races go and which races you're aiming for. Darstar. Okay, you're in first year astronomy PhD student. Okay, UCLA, working on modeling all the factors that are needed to make exoplanets habitable, and LA makes even the most painful runs feel ethereal. Yeah, LA is, man, it's wild out there. Beautiful state though. Beautiful city is amazing, but yeah, different training environment out there versus where we're at here in Michigan. So yeah. But that the EDD, PhD, I have a DBA, all those three. PhDs are even, your PhD programs are usually longer than DBAs and EDD programs. I mean, most PhDs are 5 to 6 years. DBA, you can finish it in about 3 or 4 years. But yeah, no joke. It is definitely, I thought, even when I was at Purdue, I was working toward my executive MBA, and even that was hard. And I had times where I was wondering if I'd even get through that, just through the statistics and I'm not really great at math, but getting through those particular types of classes. Most of my focus was on marketing and sales and business administration. But yeah, once you get to the PhD level and the terminal degree level, it's a whole different ballgame. I mean, it really makes an MBA program, and no disrespect to MBAs, but it makes it more feel like a vacation versus working toward a PhD or DBA. Okay, Andres, you're okay. 1 in first week of September and 2 weeks of December. Both are halves. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good time frame. Okay, because based on what you said, you had the sprained ankle in June of 2024 and a bulging disc in December of 2024. So yeah, you've given yourself ample time. I mean, I think that because the races aren't until September and December, just really don't try to get too anaerobically fit too soon. You want to make sure that you try to time your workouts and time your taper correctly. So, I think right now just really focus more so on building your aerobic fitness, doing strides 2 to 3 times a week. 2 times a week is sufficient. 5 to 6 to 7 50-meter strides after your easy runs. And just really, for the most part, June and July, even maybe start working on specific training in mid-July, August, September, November, December. Yeah, start working in more specific workouts in mid to late July, and then gradually start working on your specific training where you're getting ready for those halves. And I think too, maybe jumping into a couple shorter races just to get the legs moving, like a couple 5Ks before you run those halves, just to, get the engine rolling a little bit, get your legs moving in some really quick workout / races going into those halves, I think would be good too. But yeah, do what works best for you. But I think you're doing the right thing right now. Not moving too quick too soon. Darstorm, I've realized now part of the reason for fitness and running is to stay strong and do my best work for as long as possible. I'm 24 now, but life zooms by. Man, you're not kidding. It zooms by. You're 24, man. It's unreal. You're half my age. I'm 48. So trust me, I get it. This life does zoom by. And I remember when I was 24, it's just, 24, yeah, I was in my senior year in college. Yeah. 25. I joined the military. I enlisted in the Army in 2002 when I was 25. So yeah, and fitness and running helped me get through a lot of that, a lot of really tough times over the years where, circumstances, things that were really challenging me. I was able to get out there and do a workout, do a speed workout, do a tempo run, get out on the track, or just being by myself, and being out there and putting in the miles and the kilometers. That really helps a lot when you have things on your plate and you're trying to balance a lot of different things at once. Yeah, and you need that too, especially like you said, PhD level training. Yeah, just being able to, just like you said, just stay strong and do the best work that you can possible. That's really what at the end of the day, that's what it really comes down to, So kudos to you, man. Respect to you for going after that, though. Yeah, Andreas, no problem. Hope that's helpful. I know there's so many different viewpoints. You get asked a question, and there's so many different coaches and other athletes that are out there. Beginners, most beginners know more than most of us. It's not just the athletes that have some background in racing. A lot of times, listening to somebody that's just getting out and starting the sport can give us some ideas and some concepts that maybe we weren't thinking about. The faster you get, the more technical running becomes, and where you really have to start focusing on other aspects of preparation after the workouts are done, before the workouts are started. But you can still get to a very high level in the sport. But the most important thing is to remember what Darth Storm said, just being able to get out there and focus on being as fit and do the very best and stay as strong as you can, to do the very best that you can in training, and let that be enough, and then see where it takes you. I think a lot of times if every competitive athlete or just competitive individual, regardless if you're an athlete or non-athlete, or you have something in your life that's driving you to do something, it's very easy to get stressed out and get bummed out when things aren't going exactly the way you want. It's important to at least keep things in perspective, but don't let the sport become so such a focus that you lose enthusiasm for what you're doing. It is important to stay relaxed and still put in the work, but keep things in perspective. Most of the time, your best running is decades away. In Darth Storm's case, he's 24. I guarantee you, your peak ages it's going to vary from athlete to athlete, but really, if you're in high school, or if you're in college, your best years are in your mid 30s to late 30s in this sport. Hey, Brandon, thanks for your support, man. Thanks for all you do. My PR is 21:21. I recently PR'd in the half marathon, 1:38. Nice work. I did a mile track race at an open meet, 5:37. Awesome. Great times you've already dropped. Trying to break 20 this summer. Any advice? In the 5, trying to break 20 in the 5K. I think what you're doing I think you just continue to focus on, in training, running, spending some time, even running at 19-minute 5K pace. You can do that for on the track for shorter reps. If you're doing repeat 300s, repeat 200s, repeat 400s, run at 19-minute 5K pace. Get at times, if you're doing fartlek sessions, maybe it's like a 10 to 15 1-minute hard followed by 1 minute easy. Those 1-minute sections aim to run around 19-minute 5K race pace for those 1-minute sections, and then run easy and relax, jog during the 1K or the 1 minute off recovery sections. I think the key thing is you visualize yourself doing this. You're at 21:21 now, and I think a lot of times we focus all of our energies on the physical training, which is still vital. You're not going to go from 21:21 to 19:59 by just visualizing yourself doing it. Of course, you have to do both physical and training, but I think if you start combining both your physical preparation with visualization, spending about 10 minutes daily, and make this a part of your routine, seeing yourself getting across the finish line with 19:59 on the clock. I did this when I was a 2:43 marathoner. I wanted to get to 2:21:59. I made that, I visualized that all of the time. Throughout the day, when I was still a 2:43 marathoner. So I can't stress this enough, how important, and it's not just running, it's anything. If it's something you want, you have to see yourself achieving it before it actually occurs in real life. There's power in this. I don't know how, I mean, the power of the mind, it's spoken about in the Holy Bible and other religious texts. Physiologically, what happens by training the mind, just like we train the body, if you're doing both of those and you truly see yourself achieving a 19:59 time, there is a great amount of power in that. But you have to make sure that you're making that a part of your routine. Maybe it's when you first get up in the morning, or when you go to bed at night, you spend a few minutes seeing yourself passing runners, running strong, seeing that time on the clock, and actually putting that into part of your preparation as well. Long runs, like I talk about, don't run every single long run easy and relaxed. It's still vital. You still have to run easy, but just don't do it every single weekend. There's a video I made that I'll launch. It'll go out tomorrow. Actually, it'll go out tomorrow morning. I was going to wait till Friday for that one to go, but check out tomorrow morning's video where I talk about easy long runs, and where you can still make some big gains in this sport by just running long, slow, and easy. It's not just the faster, varied pace long runs I talk about. It's also those easy runs. So get in the habit of, what you're doing really is already working. You've already run a 1:38 half, you've run a 5:37 mile, and you've run a 21 5K. So it's just a matter of time now before you hit that 19:59. Yes, you're going to have to do some faster work. Like I talk about, get in the habit of spending a little bit of time down at 19-minute 5K pace, so that eventually you get that 19:59 goal pace to feel easier for you. It's going to be hard. I mean, even you'll dip down under 19-minute 5K pace. Maybe it's in the 1840s for maybe during those 200-meter reps or during your fartlek sessions. Do that, because your body is going to adapt. You're going to get faster. Not only you're going to be stronger with the longer runs, get that long run, doing those consistent long runs, man, there's so much strength that you're going to get by doing that. So don't know if that 100% answers your question, but hopefully it helps a little bit. But I'm telling you, the athletes that combine both physical training and mental training, that do them both and don't just do physical training, those athletes are dangerous. The best runners I've ever trained with or lived with, Olympians, including Olympians, guys that made the world championships teams, these athletes were constantly visualizing success. They were visualizing what they wanted on top of the physical training they were doing. They weren't just doing physical training. So if you're only doing physical training and you're not putting the mental preparation in practice, you're only doing 50% of the work. So hope that helps, Brandon. And keep up the great work, man. You dropped some great times already. You should be very proud of yourself. There's a lot of runners that are out there that wish they could run as fast as you've already dropped. So well done. Hey, Elf Zero, like the question, or like the name there. Awesome. Hey, Coach, first time catching the live stream with wildfire smoke being more and more common in the summer. Do you have any advice on what air quality cutoff before you should stop running outdoors? That's a tough question to answer. I don't really have the exact answer on that. I haven't dealt with that type of issue too often in my career. I mean, my best advice is I know it's not as fun, but on those days where the air quality isn't going to be good, get on a treadmill, train indoors. I know it's not as fun and definitely doesn't feel as natural as running outdoors. But I think if the air quality is just not that great for you, I think just getting on the treadmill and getting indoors and doing some quality work on the treadmill is the way to go, versus dealing with piss poor air quality out there. Again, wish I could give you a better answer on that. I haven't really, I had sandstorm when I was in Kuwait. I was training training and doing 5K races around our perimeter when I was deployed back in 2002 to Kuwait. And, I dealt with some bad air quality then. And then obviously over the years, just training outdoors when, even here in Michigan right now, we're dealing with some of the wildfires that are going on in Canada right now. we can experience it right now. So I think just be cognizant of how bad it is, and if it gets to a point where it's just not healthy, it's a much better shot of just going indoors and doing the workouts indoors on the treadmill, or if you have access to a indoor track, doing some workouts on the indoor track. You can also do pool running. I know it's extremely boring, but getting in the deep end of a pool and not wearing a flotation device, it's a lot like land running, because you're dealing with the water pressure. You have to force yourself to pump your arms and pump your legs to stay above water if you don't have a flotation device on. So that's another great workout to do, and you don't have to deal with piss poor air quality outside too. So just a couple things to keep in mind. So hope that helps. D-Man. Hey, Nate, any advice on running a sub 235 marathon? Ran 34:30 10K 8 weeks ago, 1:15:50 half 5 weeks ago, and a 2:52 hilly marathon 1 week ago with serious stomach issues. Next marathon's in October. Let's see. Brandon. Yeah, no problem, Brandon. You're doing great, man. Keep up the great work. D-Man, let's see. Yeah, man, you've dropped some great times, man. I can speak from experience with the marathon. Right now, you're a 2:52 marathoner. In October, you could be a 2:32 marathoner. I mean, it's crazy. This distance is, I mean, as you all know, everybody that's on the stream right now, this particular distance, you can drop several minutes, 20, 30, 40 minutes up to an hour if you do it right. May take you another year, another 2 years to drop a full minute, but you can drop several minutes. And I think what the types of times you're dropping already, that half marathon time specifically, I want to look that up, but I think your half marathon time is equivalent to a time that's that is around 2:35. Let me look it up. 1:15:50 for a half. We'll see what that is equivalent to. Yeah, that's equivalent to a 2:38:55 marathon. So you're running the types of times that are really indicative of dropping a sub 2:35. It's not going to be easy because of what you've already run. You've already run, in my opinion, elite times. Everybody's got their own viewpoints of what elite is, but there are so few runners that run as fast as you have already. I mean, to run a 2:52 marathon, 34:30 10K, and you ran that with stomach issues. So I think in dropping from a 2:52 to down to 2:34:59, yes, it's a drastic drop in time. You will have to make some major changes in your workouts. Definitely do a 5 month to 6 month block. I wouldn't do a 3 or 4 month block of training. You need to focus on a 20 to 24 weeks. 100% of your focus should be on getting that sub 2:35 marathon pace to feel more manageable for you, so that it's not like you're able to hold the pace for, say, 15 to 16 miles and then you fall off. There's a lot of runners that can go 20 miles, 32K at that pace, and then they fall apart. It's not, so as you know, it's that first 20 miles, and really when the race starts is the last 10 kilometers. So doing all the little details that I talk about, running the tangents in the race, running the least amount of distance as you possibly can, so that you cut that time down from 2:42 down to 2:34. You already have the speed, you have the stamina. You have to work on getting I would focus on working on your long runs as well. 2:35, a 2:30. Let me see, a 2:34. You see, 2:34:59 for the marathon. Yeah, that's 5:55 mile pace or 3:40 kilometer pace. So yeah, doing more of some of your long runs, like if you getting that long run out to around 24 miles, running, like one of the types of example workouts I would do is I like doing, like in the past, doing 24 mile runs, right around, that's about the longest I would do for a long run. But the first 12 miles I would run easy. The last 12 miles I would focus on running at goal marathon race pace. And again, because you're trying to run 5:55 mile pace, your easy pace, your easy training pace should be around between 6:45 to around 7:28 per mile pace, or 412 kilometer pace to 438 kilometer pace. So again, making sure you're jogging on your recovery days, you're not running too fast on your easy days, so that you do adapt to the workouts you're doing. A lot of times that can make the major difference from dropping from, going from a 242 to a sub 235. Making sure you're jogging on your easy days. Get beyond worrying about pace per mile and pace per kilometer on your easy days. My easy days in my prime, I would run around 8-minute mile pace on my easy days, but on my hard workouts, I was running well below 5-minute mile pace. So again, I wasn't so concerned with what pace I was running on the easy days. I wanted to make sure I was jogging, adapting, and recovering, so that I could continue to really push hard on those harder workouts. So I think that what you're doing already shows me you are very well capable of breaking the sub 235 marathon barrier. I would run maybe a couple 5Ks, a couple 10-mile races prior to going into your goal race. I think that which race are you aiming for October? Hopefully it's a flat course, even though it's flat races are no guarantee. I've always said it's the athlete that's, if you're in the best possible physical and mental shape, that's what makes a course fast. But obviously going after a course like Berlin or Rotterdam or Chicago, those are the types of courses that are going to give you the best possible chances of success. And obviously if the competition's there, and a lot of times athletes, they surprise me. They go out there and run a new personal best on a very hilly course, versus running on a flat course. So, but no, I think you're asking the right types of questions. Continue to practice running under 5:55 mile pace and running at 340 or faster kilometer pace in training. If you're doing repeat miles, get in the habit of doing, and running at threshold effort would be running around 5:37 mile pace or 3:29 kilometer pace. Okay. So again, you want to get that 340K pace or 5:55 mile pace to feel easier, more like a moderate effort, so that once you get to the 20-mile mark in the race, then you can really pick up the pace. And running a negative split, I think a lot of times for a lot of athletes is a better move. Some athletes will do much better in the marathon distance by running a positive split, running much more aggressive in the first half, and then slowing down a little bit. But because they went out so fast in the first half, you got a little bit of buffer time to slow down in that second half. Okay, so it's a flat race and sweet, and 8 laps around the lake. That sounds really cool. Very smart move on your part. I like that. So yeah, I don't know if that 100% answers your question, but I just know from experience that, my example, prior to running 219, my PR the morning before I ran that race was 240.02 for the marathon. And when I finished, I ran 219.35. That's an example. It's 21 minutes I dropped off. So it's just consistency and staying persistent about what you're doing. The athletes that come on these streams that watch my videos, even if they're beginner, everybody is motivated. They're all asking the same similar type of questions, like how can I get faster in this particular race, or how can I drop my weight to run faster? It's just staying consistent over a long period of time. That's what's going to do it. I'm telling you, like I said, 252, you're a 252 marathoner now. In October, you could very well be a 234, 233 marathoner. And you've already dropped the types of times that you're hinting at what you truly need to run in order to get to sub 235. So, in these running calculators, I look at the V.02 calculator, but they give a general guesstimate of what you're capable of. If you can run a certain time, for a specific distance. So if you're running a 235 VDOT, they say if you can run the half around 114.02, or if you can run a 10K in 33:31, you have the capability. So you're generally in that area, 114.02, 115.50. And again, even the V.02 calculator, just to give you an idea, it says like my PR for the half is 107.06. So it says I should be able to run a marathon in 2:20.26, and I ran 2:19.35. So these are just guesstimates, but what you've done already shows me you're going to do it. So hope that's helpful. Elf Zero, yeah, haven't tried deep water running below before. We'll have to give it a shot. Anything to avoid treadmills. Yeah, treadmills. It's definitely, as you know, it's boring, but sometimes you got to jump in there and do the workouts on those. I certainly know it's no fun, but yeah. Let's see, X, I didn't run for 2 months because of shin splints. What is the cure for that injury? I don't really think there's a quick cure for shin splints, but I've had it. I dealt with them one time in my career, and they definitely are not fun. But a mixture of both warm your muscle, warm the shin before you go out for your workouts, and ice when you get back. Don't just ice. Do a mixture of both warmth and cold. A lot of times too, you can feel like if you have any type of shin splints issues or any other sore muscles, I always recommend filling up some styrofoam cups, putting them in your freezer, and you can just peel off the cup as the ice melts, but use that as like a massager on your shins. But doing a mixture of both warmth and cold will help that particular injury to heal a little bit quicker versus just doing, or if you just continue to train on it, definitely don't do that. I would recommend minimizing the amount of stress you're placing on your shins. I do, and I talk about pool running. I know it's boring, but getting in the deep end of a pool, if you have access to that, I've had times over the years where I had, I ruptured my plantaris tendon. I've had shin splints. I've had Achilles tendonitis. I've had patellar tendonitis. Pool running was the answer because, again, there's no impact on those muscles and those ligaments. So if you can get in the deep end of the pool, even though it's really, really boring, spend a few weeks in the deep end of a pool and do pool running. I'm telling you that with the water pressure, you will be forced to get a great workout in the deep end of a pool by doing that, and no stress on your shins. So I know it's not the best answer. Sometimes we just have to do the things that we don't truly want to do. But if you're in situations like that, when you have shin splints, any type of muscular tears, some cases complete rest is the best answer. Not trying to train through any type of injury that's going to cause you to be out of the sport even longer because you kept pushing. Not saying you in general, X, but just because we keep pushing. We're out of the sport even further because of that. So let's see here. I was preparing for selection, so I was running every day, rucking. Okay, so you're in the military. So I was rucking some days and 3 hours of calisthenics. I think it's probably from under recovery, but I don't know. I get shin splints so often. Yeah, I mean, I've had friends and athletes I've trained with over the years that get shin splints quite often too. A lot of times too. And you're training for, I'm assuming SF selection, high level military skills, and you have to be active so often. And yeah, when you're doing rucking, I've done ruck marches over the years too when I was in the service, and it's no joke. I think too, doing the best you can to do shin, or look into strengthening your shins through strength training as well. If you're doing all that other impact type activities, rucking, running, sprints, all of that can add so much additional stress onto that particular part of the body. So do the best you can to read up on, and I'm probably preaching the choir with your background, so forgive me, but I think that strengthening the shins as best you can in the gym, and in finding out any type of biomechanical issue that's causing the issue. A lot of times it's just the stress where, if you're doing ruck marches and you're doing a lot of rucking, you're doing sprints, you're doing long runs, you're doing tempo runs, you're doing all these additional exercises that are placing so much stress on that particular part of the body, that can be a big problem. And it's hard to get it. Shins take a while to heal up, man. I mean, I remember mine, it took like 8 months for it to completely heal. Not saying that it's going to take that long for you, but for me, it just took forever. And I was doing all of that. I was doing, obviously taking ibuprofen. I was doing a mixture of both warming the muscle with a heating pad prior to the start of my workouts. And then when I got back, I would ice. I was doing just about everything you can possibly do to heal that particular area of the body. And man, it's a lot of times we can't rush the healing process. The body's going to heal when it wants, and we can do all the other things and we can feel like we're doing every single thing right. And we probably are, but it heals on its own time, and my advice, man, stay strong. What you're doing already, SF selection is no joke, or any of that type of training, Ranger school, special forces selection, you're going to have to make sure, and I already know you are, you're going to have to make sure that you're taking care of your body and take care of yourself mentally as well. There's only a few select people in the world that can do what you're doing. So my utmost respect for going after something like that. And on top of that, aiming for training for races and doing ruck marches and doing all the additional things that you're throwing at yourself. So yeah, man, stay strong. It's shin splints it's no joke. So give me just a second. Close the door for a second. Hey, Brandon, I see you say getting faster at the shorter distances first pays dividends for the longer distances. Does it work the other way around as well, even if you run the longer distance slower? I think so. I don't think it's necessarily you have to just, and I have mentioned that in the past, but I do also think that running faster at the longer distances, because you have gotten to a point where you've gotten closer to mastering those longer races, how much easier is a shorter race going to feel after coming back from training for a 10-mile or a half marathon or a marathon race and having run very well at those particular distances? I do think that running fast at the longer distances will also help athletes run faster at the shorter distances. Yes, the shorter distances, they are more anaerobic in nature, even though it's even a 5K, a 3K isn't really an anaerobic event. More the anaerobic events are more like the 200, the 400, the 800, but they're still more anaerobic in nature versus those longer races that are more aerobic, half marathon, 10-miler, 25K marathon distance. But yeah, I do think that your question is legit. I think that the faster you can run in these longer races, a lot of times that will give you that additional motivation that, hey, I'm so strong in the marathon distance. I've really gotten faster at the half marathon. I've run faster at the 10K, the 10-mile distances. Now I want to go after the 1500. Now I want to go after the 800. Now I want to go after the 2-mile. I do think that, yeah, long-winded answer, but yeah, I think that if you can run faster in those longer races, it's going to help you definitely in the shorter races as well, and vice versa. A lot of athletes need to get faster and feel like they should run faster in the 5K and 10K before they start looking at the longer races. But I think that if you've done some longer races, some 10-milers, half marathon, marathon races, and you've gotten competitive in those particular race distances, that's going to help you out a ton going into the shorter races. Because one, it's going to feel so much shorter because you've already done such longer races. But I think that stamina and the endurance that doing those long races, because you've done those, I think for a lot of runners, it's going to help them out a ton. Because one, the shorter races are so much shorter, but you have that background the long races to do very well in the short races. So yeah, 100%. So. All right, everybody. I think I'll cut it for now. Like I said, I'll do a poll this week and see what is the best time frame, what works best for everybody. I do like to do these streams usually every week or every other week, but you guys and gals always jump on here and ask the great questions. I really appreciate that. It makes me think I really have to draw on some of the things that work best for me. And again, it's just my opinion. So I hope a lot of times just getting on some of these streams and interacting with you all live is great, and hopefully some of the things that I share is helpful for all of you guys. So yeah, I'll end here. So I hope you all have a great evening, and hope you have a great week ahead, and we'll be in touch. And check out the videos. I got a couple videos coming out this week. Hopefully it will be helpful for you, and yeah, I'll talk to you all here soon. All right, have a great evening.